10 things you didn't know about wildlife trafficking. But first, thanks Mr. Shenandoah for leaving us this comment on our 12 Animals with Amazing Jobs video. Leave us your insight on the wildlife trade and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 10. Billion-dollar industry. Wildlife trafficking is basically defined as the commerce of selling non-domesticated animals or plants that are taken from their natural habitat. This can include living or dead animals, or even just pieces of them like the skins, bones, tusks, organs, and meat. While legal wildlife trade does exist, demand for illegal wildlife trade is quite high, and it can generate quite a lot of dirty money. We'll be mostly focusing on the illegal wildlife trade in this video. This industry can bring in an estimated $10 to $20 billion a year, and the trade is intercontinental. This obviously makes people very wealthy in the process. The key links in the illegal trade is from China, the United States, and the European Union. Value on the products often vary, but it's often dependent on the rarity of the substance, how sought after something is, or how difficult it could be to get a hold of it. It's thought that many illegal wildlife transactions happen on the deep web in order to avoid detection. Number 9. Threat to humans. You might just think that this only poses threats to animals, but this certainly isn't true, and it can affect innocent bystanders in the wrong place at the wrong time. The killing of African elephants for their sought-after ivory is often linked with organized crime syndicates, which has links to terrorist organizations. This has brought wealth and power into the hands of the wrong people, who are often radical in their beliefs. They use the money from poaching to purchase powerful weapons and create ruthless militias to devastate countrysides. For example, the Lord's Resistance Army is one of Africa's most brutal militias in the Congo, and are linked to slaughter of elephants. A terrorist organization of radical jihadists known as Al-Shabaab, who have pledged allegiance to Al-Qaeda, have made the lives of many people near the border of Kenya and Somalia a living hell in order to secure illegal ivory trade routes. Number 8. Chinese traditional medicine. A large number of illegal wildlife trafficking occurs because of the Chinese traditional medicine, but it's certainly only the tip of the iceberg. The practice dates back over 2,500 years ago, which includes a variety of herbal remedies, acupuncture, massages, and also calls for some unconventional ingredients from endangered animals. The effectiveness of Chinese traditional medicine has been poorly researched, but it's still practiced outside of China too, like in Vietnam and Thailand. There are at least 10 threatened and endangered animals on the recipe for many of the supposed remedies. This includes Rhino Horn, which was believed to have the capability of relieving headaches, cure cancer, and lower blood pressure. We'll get more onto rhinos later in this video. Musk deer, however, were found throughout Asia and are on decline now. They've been killed for their musk pods, which are removed while they're still alive, and can get someone around $250 each. These musk pods are used to create perfume. The meat is also considered a rare delicacy and used in traditional recipes for treating cardiac and circulatory problems. This is just one of the few cruel examples that Chinese traditional medicine has helped create a demand for wildlife trafficking. Number 7. Protection is difficult. You're probably wondering why there can't just be more strict laws to punish animal traffickers. Well, there is, but it's quite often difficult to enforce these laws, especially when many countries with sought-after animals are so low on resources. The officials who do live there risk their lives or can easily become susceptible to bribery. Not to mention, a lot of animals live in isolated and inaccessible places on the planet. Even the rangers who are well paid and passionate about protecting wildlife are gunned down sometimes. Between July 2013 and July 2014, 56 wildlife rangers lost their lives while on duty. Number 6. It's destroying economies. Many places in Africa and around the world heavily rely on tourism for a large source of income. People from all over the world come to see some of the amazing creatures that live here. The loss of wildlife that comes with poaching and selling of certain animals or parts of them can severely impact the already struggling economy in many parts of Africa and Central America. The UN reported that the loss of wildlife caused by poaching is likely to significantly impact tourism development as well as the tourism sector worldwide linked to the African market. So it's not just Africa being affected. If you run a travel agency who books tours to African safaris, your job is at risk too. According to David Sheldrick, director of the Campaign to Preserve Elephants, stated that one loss of a single elephant will result in $1.6 million lost from the tourism market during an average lifespan of an elephant. Number 5. Amphibian Trafficking. Many of us enjoy the uniqueness of having a different pet. Frogs make a good choice because they're fairly simple to take care of and can even look like Princess Leia when snails are on its head. Each year, thousands of amphibians like exotic frogs and toads are pulled from their natural environment, which are then sold as exotic pets, most often in foreign countries. These are often sold from private dealers, which are then sold to some pet stores or to individuals who want the exotic pet. Getting them across borders doesn't always prove to be easy, and some are smuggled on planes. Here in this photo, you see a film canister containing tiny poison arrow frogs that were seized by customs in Belgium. These were originally from Panama and could have sold for about 150 euros each. Many pet stores get their exotic pets from legitimate breeders, but you should consider asking employees of pet stores where they get their supply of reptiles or frogs from. Number 4. The Lizard King. In some tropical places where reptiles are plentiful, people like Anson Wong, aka the Lizard King, can become the Pablo Escobars of reptile smuggling. This man ran an organized criminal enterprise of selling most specifically endangered reptiles like the boa constrictors, Chinese alligators, and Komodo dragons to places all around the world. This Malaysian citizen was deemed responsible for the biggest operation of animal smuggling. He was eventually arrested at an airport when he was caught with a briefcase crawling with reptiles. Number 3. Shipments to 214 countries. In case you really just thought this was a problem affecting a few parts of the globe, you need to open your eyes. China should not be solely to blame for this problem. This affects virtually every part of the globe when it comes to exporting and importing. There are more shipments of wildlife trafficking entering the US via San Francisco, California than anywhere else. Ivory is most commonly exported from the country of Gabon, and rhino horn from South Africa. The Canadian illegal wildlife trade is certainly booming with trophy animals like moose, bears, elk, which are then mounted and sold for thousands of dollars each. Black bear paws are another delicacy in Asia that are supposed to have aphrodisiac-like qualities, and wild bear bile comes from their liver. So it's easy to see why Canada, a country with plenty of bears, might be hunting them and selling them to China. No country with a thriving wildlife is immune to the temptation of quick money on the wildlife trafficking market. Number 2. Rhino Horn. While rhino or elephant horn might not be the most common commodity sold on the wildlife black market, it certainly seems to be the most rare and expensive. It's not only poor people who are trying to get by and resort to poaching anymore. In modern times, it's ran by well-organized, militarized gangs, taking control of this illegal, yet lucrative business. A typical rhino horn can sell for an astonishing $300,000 once it finds a potential buyer. It's almost hard to blame the poacher when prices are that high, but it's truly the demand which is outrageous. In 2011, thieves raided museums in Europe, not stealing precious coins or artwork, but rhinoceros-mounted heads, more specifically for their horns. The demand actually doesn't come from China this time, but in Vietnam, where appetite for rhino horn has gone through the roof at about $100,000 a kilo. Some claim it has the magical ability to cure cancer, but in reality, it has no more nutritional value than eating someone's toenails. Number 1. The most common commodities. While rhino horns and tusks certainly pick up big bucks for illegal wildlife trafficking, the dwindling numbers of these animals make it tough to sell in large quantities. It might come to a surprise, but in fact pythons appear to be the most commonly smuggled live animal that are sold as pets. Exotic fish, birds, and turtles also rank high on the list. Illegal meat is another common commodity, especially shark fins and also pangolins. You probably never heard of this mammal before, but it actually has scales, is extremely rare, and are used for traditional medicines. The scales are actually boiled off their bodies, and their blood is seen as some kind of magical healing potion. Many claim this to be the most hunted animal. Something needs to be done quickly before it's completely wiped off the face of the planet.